This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here are your hosts, Jeff Gardner and Sean Preston.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have a lovely neighbor on with us, and that is Alison Diaz of Turn of Events and Catering. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to just briefly, before we start, tell you of this little struggle that I'm having. So I'm a bit of a green thumb. And last year, I ended up buying this cute little greenhouse. It's got 4 cute little shelves in it. It goes in the corner of the deck. And we want to start getting the vegetable seeds and herbs starting to sprout so that we're not planting just directly the seeds inside the soil. We want to kind of get them going a bit. And last year, I made a fatal error where it's got like the zipper on the top. And so when the sun comes out, like it gets 47 degrees Celsius in this little greenhouse. And if I don't open the top, then it just fricassees everything. Everything dries out. The seeds die. The little seedlings, that they start popping up, they die as well. And so it's this constant, like these habitual things. You want to implement something new. It takes like 28 days to kind of get dialed in, whether you're going to start a workout routine or I want to make a smoothie moving forward in the morning. And it takes you like 2 weeks before you start getting to this habit where your body just naturally knows, like, I'm doing this as a part of my thing, right? But I don't have 28 days to dial this in. I have 2.5 weeks before they're too big. And then I gotta, go ahead and put them in the garden. So this has been my mental struggle over the last 3-4 days, is making sure that I take that zipper off the top, because if I don't, I lose all of that work from putting the soil into the pots to planting it, watering it every 2 days. It's like, I don't know. Are you a gardener? Do you have any experience with this?
Yeah, I'm a gardener, and it sounds like you learned from your mistake last year, possibly. Like my seedlings died. So I was off to a great start and put the sunflowers outside, and even the sunflowers leaves got burned. And so I got to go to the garden gallery and pick up some sprouts to actually plant something.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. If you don't have experience with it, it's like you need to have a family member or like a close friend that knows what they're doing. Other than that, hopefully you're using ChatGPT, so you can ask it all the questions you want. Try not to make the mistakes, because it's a lot of time wasted and a lot of effort. But the reward, I'll tell you, that you probably know, it is definitely worth all the work.
Yeah, we are definitely, like, my goal for this year was gardening, and I just have to kind of pivot again and just start with some hardy stuff that the garden gallery started with, and get those going just to offset some of our costs.
I could talk about it all day, but I know the listeners are probably chomping at the bit right now. We want to know, who is Alison? What does she do? I want to get to know her business. So why don't we dive right into it? Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about your business?
So I own Turn of Events and Catering with my husband. We started that in 2020, and we just wanted to bring a solution to that time, and we've been going ever since. We provide event services and catering services in Simcoe County and Georgina, really actually anywhere. And um, we cook, or my husband, Chef Miguel, he cooks in people's houses. We do some private chef experiences. We do high teas in people's homes. Um, Average size would be about anywhere from like 6 people, maybe even 2 people, to like 100 people.
Oh, wow.
It really depends on the menu, and our cuisine is more Italian, Mediterranean, Portuguese, European fine dining. And this is something that we've always been passionate about, and we're offering that to our clients.
And the event services portion to it, what kind of events are they? Corporate events, private events? Do you guys dabble in a little bit of everything? Let's give the listeners a little bit more insight into that.
I would say on the event side, we work with some venues, and like in-house for some of those. So we offer our staffing and timeline building. Um, we also do we do a lot with homeowners. We're there for them. So oftentimes the locations that we do go to are people's homes, and we offer help to the hosts, the homeowners, so that they can enjoy with their guests, and then we can do our genius thing, which is setting up, creating a great catered experience, cleaning up, and then even the things in between, like check-in washrooms, refreshing garbages. We do a lot of stuff at pool parties, backyards, and yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell.
Very cool. Let's talk a little bit about your husband, the chef. You mentioned like some really great cuisines. All of that sounds, I'm a bit of a foodie, so all of that sounds great to me. Where does that kind of inspiration come from, and maybe a little bit of his background and how he got into doing what he's doing?
Yes, so he started cooking with his mom. He was born in Portugal, and so they love cooking. And then when I met him, he was working at a restaurant in Bonhead called Poco Capello, and I like fell in love with his cooking and was there like weekly. And he just never had another job other than cooking. He loves it so much. He went to school for it in George Brown,
Right.
and then he was an executive chef. And he one of his like party tricks, I call it, is being able to kind of go into someone's cupboard. Like he used to do this a lot when we were younger, but go into people's cupboards and then make something out of nothing, like an amazing meal, like after we came back from the bar. And so I'll never go hungry as long as I keep him happy.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. I love that party trick. Always nice to have a friend when you come back from being out with friends, maybe having a couple pops, and you get back home and you're hungry, and one of your friends is an executive chef. It can just whip up a jambalaya from absolute nothing, and it's this gourmet late night meal that sounds so
Yeah.
appetizing to me.
Yeah, especially when those restaurants are closed, at that time. And yeah, and we're just kind of like it's the after party, and we're just kind of hanging out in the kitchen, and he's, you know, like no one really wants to cook for him, as you can imagine. Like no one wants to cook for a chef. Um, so yeah, he always usually takes the lead, and he's happy to do so. And I think he really enjoys like when people are enjoying his meal. And I don't know, I feel like not a lot of people can do what he can do, and it's been really helpful, especially around these times with like grocery prices and being able to get what's on sale sometimes, like just for like us cooking at home.
Yeah.
We have a daughter as well, and so yeah, making like 5-star meals out of uh, some clearance items or sale items or seasonal items.
It is a very, very good skill to have in life. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you, right? Everybody's got their journey leading into what they're doing today. What was that journey like for you?
So I started like I maybe I was 5 years old, and I was a flower girl. And just like that in that part in the movie, like I saw a wedding for the first time, like the white dress at the church, and I was just like in awe. And I felt so special being a flower girl. And then like in our culture, I'm Filipino, and we don't usually have those like big weddings. so I haven't really seen much of them. And then I did get a job working at the same golf course as Miguel, and I started off as a cart girl, and I kept looking inside the banquet room to see what kind of wedding was happening, and then I was just offered a serving position, and I just could not help myself. I just kept pouring into these weddings and the events that were happening, and just kind of naturally got promoted. And when it came time for like college to, see where like what to do and what course to take, my parents were, they're immigrants, and they really wanted me to go into nursing, just like many others. And I just did not. That was not for me. And I dropped out of my program, which was social service work, because that was like somewhat, healthcare. Um, and I feel like I really wanted to just dive into events, and I just kept working at the golf course. I was like a venue coordinator, and worked in the sales position. I did a lot of client care, and did like I quit after like 8 years of working there, pouring so much of myself into there, not really getting the promotion or raise because like there was that that cap.
Yeah.
And um, unfortunately, yeah, there was like a wedding where I went above and beyond, and I mean, you can stop me here if I'm talking too much, but went above and beyond for these clients because they were quote unquote like connected to the owners, which they weren't. And um, I checked in on them a few times, like throughout the wedding, and they kept saying everything was amazing, everything was fine and lovely. And then I went home, and then like the banquet manager had texted me and said they're complaining about everything. I just immediately started to cry. I thought that was the best job in the world at the time, and I thought I couldn't do anything better than that, and I quit. And because I was like, I can't even face being fired from this company. And turns out, like, there was a lot of people checking in, like, why is she quitting? But I didn't have another job, but I knew that I couldn't stay there. And then I got, like, someone found out that I quit, and I was like looking for a job, and she called me right away and offered me a position at Chair Decor, which was an event rental company in Woodbridge, and loved that job. Those were my glory days. And then COVID happened.
Yeah, we all know what happened in COVID. I gave a lot of people a lot of time to think about life, what's important to them. It happened to me as well too. And I mean, everybody had so much time on their hands. I was talking with my fiance, which I had the chance to meet when we met the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting out there. We had our first dinner on the back deck in the screening gazebo, which was kind of fun. And I just looked at my fence because in 2020, right when COVID hit, it was springtime or coming into springtime. Everybody had all this extra time on their hands, and I took a power washer. I power washed my whole fence, and then I stained it. It looked like completely brand new. It looked so good. And then, 6 years later, it's back to exactly, the weather, just the winters and everything is weathered back. So now everything's gray. And just thinking to myself, like, man, everybody had so much time on their hands. And we hear it a lot on the show with business owners, and just that question in general. A lot of people decided to reflect on what's important to them. And I had similar, not exactly, but similar experiences like most people do when, they're in the corporate world and you're offering your very best and it's not good enough, or maybe you have a bad manager or a bad boss and they don't treat you well. And thankfully I think generally speaking, the world's changing a little bit to not be so old school, having that mentality. We were talking about it in a content shoot just the other day. It very much is more about the people and making sure that they're happy. That business owners should be very grateful and happy for the people that they employ, because there's not a lot of good people out there. And when they do have someone, we need to make sure that we treat them very well, because the business doesn't grow if it doesn't have good people, good culture, et cetera, et cetera. So I can completely relate to what you're saying there. Okay, so now COVID happens. You've got all this extra time on your hands. What's going on in your brain at this point? Let's go through that thought process.
So yeah, I got the back of my head. I was like, this isn't 2 weeks. Like um, but I was still hopeful. I was like, oh, like I'll get my job back, and I was pregnant at the time. I think I was like 3 months, 6 months pregnant at the time, and um, with event rentals, like you just saw the like orders and cancellation. So I wasn't like wedding planning at the time where I had to carry clients through that um all the fifth postponements. But I I just somehow like thought that like it would work itself out, and like people would still be renting and still like having like the need for that. And then my husband Miguel, like he lost his job, and that was devastating. But I also knew that that was coming, that was looming, and just I had all this like pent up energy, and then like truthfully, like kind of depression, like on I shouldn't speak for him, but on my husband's side, like it started to like show up, and I was like, what can I do? Like there's something that I can do. And it was like, oh my gosh, like we can help these people who are being postponed to actually just like put their hands up and choose to get married at home, and we'll bring the venue experience to them. Miguel can like cook, and then I can take care of like the wedding planning, coordination, whatever is needed, serving, even if it was like just the household and they wanted to do a special dinner in the house, um and whatever their comfort level was, like wearing the mask. So like we wanted to build trust as well, um but like those mandates kept changing. So
Yeah.
we thought like, okay, December 2020, December 2020, like let's just focus on charcuterie platters for Christmas orders, New Year's orders, all of that. That's when we launched, and we did so amazing. Um, People definitely wanted to support us. They knew I was pregnant. They knew that Miguel like lost his job, and that just is when the community just rallies behind that. And so we were so grateful. Um, and just felt like supported during that time. Miguel, like he is an avid Pokemon collector. He's been collecting Pokemon cards from day one they came out, never opened them as a kid. Those treasures he had to cash in and sell. One of them was like this Charizard box, and it was like $17,000, and he sold it. And this guy within a week drove from like Quebec all the way to Innisfil to to pay cash for this. And it was like, okay, we can start this business the way that we want to. And
Wow.
and so should I just stop there for now?
Oh my God. I have to say, like, I have a holographic Charizard. I collected Pokemon cards as a kid. So already I love your husband. It's a must. I have to meet him after we're
Yeah,
all
for
wrapped up at
sure.
some point. But there's different, he obviously he knows all this stuff, but there's different editions of the holographic Charizard. And I was one edition away from it being like a $17,000 card. He had it. So that is so cool. And I just, even being 36 years old, just, I don't know, 6 months ago, one of my best friends, he obviously loves Pokemon. It's just that nostalgia when we were kids, and he had an emulator. We put it up. He was sitting next to me in my office here, and we had grabbed little Xbox controllers and put it up on the PC screen, and we were playing side by side. It's not a 2-player game, it's 1-player game. And we were just doing the game together in stages. It's so like, I'm a total nerd with all of that kind of stuff. You had me going. Look at me. Now you got me going.
Yeah, I know. I'm smiling ear to ear because I thought it was so like I mean I was like, I honor you for having this collection, but this stuff is everywhere. Like what like and he just held it all of that on up until that point. And then it was like, and I kind of was like thinking like, you can have a collection, and then what happens if a tornado comes and takes the first roof of your, I heard that in Ashley's podcast, like episode where, like a storm can come and damage all of that stuff, like someone can come and steal that stuff. Like, so it was just kind of the right time and he was ready to let something go and kind of feel the rush of that. So yeah, like there's a couple more Pokemon things, and like throughout the years, he's had to go through there and have to take something out to sell, which thankfully. And then Pokemon Go, like that went so like that's what we were doing.
That's
We
amazing.
were playing Pokemon Go. We were part of the Innisfil Pokemon like uh, group where we would drive around and hit the spots. And so yeah, like. Yeah, Pokemon saved the day many times.
Very cool.
And then yeah, so then back to business. Like we were off to a great start with the launch, and then I did a Tony Robbins. I love being coached actually. Like I have a mentor, and but Tony Robbins, like he was doing some online things and I did one of those. It was called New World New You, and I like just basically from the momentum of that I'm still going. Like,
Nice.
and I've done a couple things since then, just to keep myself motivated and to constantly evolve, just like Pokemon do.
Nice plug. This has got to be my all-time favorite episode. We're not even like halfway through yet. I love it. And
Well,
it's
you gotta get
okay. So
Miguel
you
too.
got the business going. It's up and running now. And how has business been since then?
It's been good. So again, lots of like we've had to pivot. But even during these times, like where we are today, we are still in business. So I'm really happy that because we built a solution-based business at that time, I feel like we'll always be in business. Even with the rising cost of things, people are not doing like as big of weddings. I mean, that there is that comfort where like everything's fun in the world, like we can do a 200-person wedding. And I see those happening now too, but that's not for us. And we want to be there and hold the space for those that want to celebrate at home or in one of our venues that we're a preferred caterer at, and support them through that process and whatever they want to do at home. And a lot of that is like, scaling down in guests, scaling down in their budget. So we are seeing a lot of people hosting at home. And I guess like for those, extra special occasions, they do want that extra help. And what we're really providing clients is freedom, time freedom, freedom of tasks. And so that's where our genius comes into play. And I don't think that everyone can be good at everything. And, I'm glad that I found a really great life partner where we can we're kind of intertwined in a lot of different things. So I guess like kind of fast forward where we're at now, is I'm a homeschool mom, and we have a almost 5-year-old, and Miguel is an executive chef at Mill Run Golf Course during the week, and they full transparency there. They know that he has a catering business, so I feel like I do optimize his life by keeping the home going, tending to the email. So I'm on call, like, I'm answering emails when I can, doing my lessons when I can with my kid. And this is my dream life.
Very, very cool. I'm happy for you. Your kid, boy, girl?
She is a girl and she's quite the princess.
I could just imagine starting to get to know her mom a little bit. What's her name?
Sophia.
Sophia. So what are some of your hobbies? What do you guys like to do outside of business? Obviously, I imagine Sophia takes up a lot of that time, but what do you guys like to do together as a family?
Well, this morning we did our lessons, which I focus on phonics, reading, writing, and some like easy math. So that can take an hour, that can take 3 hours. It could be in the morning, and then we do it again in the evening. So it just um and then the rest is kind of play. We love going to Wonderland. I used to work there too, and Wonderland is our Disneyland.
Nice.
Earlier this morning, we went for a bike ride, and we are gonna do some gardening. She has an amazing mud kitchen in the back. Um,
Sweet.
and yeah, like we are part of a community, because I'm sure people are going to be like, what about socialization? That's always the number one question. And we are quite social. We do a lot of play dates. And we're part of a great community of other homeschoolers, like give or take 100, primary parent and child. And we're just one group out of many, and I love seeing that growing. And I other things that I love to do is like thrifting, antiquing, um, going outside. I am a tree hugger. I love the forest, and gardening.
You would get along very
And
well with Julie and my daughter Chanel. They
oh, you
are,
have a daughter.
yeah, Chanel is a thrifter through and through. Same with my younger sister, Chantel, actually. She's a thrifter, but Chanel's a crazy thrifter. Julie's not too bad herself. And Julie is like addicted to the antiques. She loves anything from the 1960s. If I let her have her way, it'd be like a museum in my house. And she's a big rock collector. So we go camping, and I have to make sure I take a look and only let her keep the good rocks, because she'll bring in a bag full of rocks. Like they're normal rocks, There's nothing overly special about them, but I don't know. There's something special
No,
about.
there are things special about rocks. What are you talking about? Like, I do have a little rock garden happenings.
Oh, nice! So I think you guys are more similar than I originally thought.
Yeah, no, I love rocks. Yeah, they're yeah. I'm giggling, but it's gonna be so ridiculous when I say this, but rocks can move. They're special, just like crystals and gems and things like that.
Yeah, she's big on that stuff too. So I've learned a little bit about amethyst and citrine and jade, and what the meaning behind all of that stuff is. The stuff you learn when you're married to a rock fan. Okay, let's talk a little bit about myths and misconceptions. This is always great. We love giving the business owner an opportunity to be able to clear the air, because people only know what they only know. And education's a big thing. So sometimes people can get it in their own mind, or maybe they hear miscommunication from somebody else, and it's not necessarily the truth. So, do you have any myths, any misconceptions that we could share with the audience?
I would say, like, weddings have tradition, but I kind of see that not a lot of there's like, other than the ceremony is really important, but the tradition of like, I have to invite so and so because they invited us to their wedding, and I feel like you don't need to go into that. Invite who you want to invite. You're not gonna um I don't think you'll upset anybody. I think a lot of people are in financial struggles, and by being a guest at a wedding or being a bridesmaid or maid of honor, that those have um, like, you do want to provide a monetary gift, and you want to get the bridesmaids dressed. But when you're a bridesmaid for like five other friends that year, like that could really be hurtful. Um, the other, like, I'm trying to think of like a myth or misconception, but what I really want to say is that um, and just invite who you want to invite, and have the wedding the way you want to have your wedding, the way you envision it, and what's important to you, without all the fluff. And um, marriage is really about the couple. It's about two people joining in union to be life partners. I know, like, when Miguel and I, when we had our wedding, I would say that I did not like our wedding, and that's kind of saying a lot because 'cause I'm in the industry, but I got married for all kind of the wrong reasons where, because I was in, like, event sales and marketing, like, at the time when I got married at the golf course, we got married at that same golf course for the discount, because Miguel and I both worked there, so that was, like, extra discount, but I wanted it to look a certain way so that it can be used as, like, promotional things for, like, the what I was in, like, in my position and my role there, and, I had a huge bridal party, like, unfortunately, I don't talk to all of them anymore, like, after 2020, there was, like, that interruption. I still love them, still send them love, but it's not the same that it used to be, and unfortunately, my in-laws still have a big problem about some of the things we did at the wedding, which, is laughable, but, like, there's so much drama that can go into a wedding where, like, if and I really saw, like, the huge, like, light at the end of the tunnel when I was like, "People can get married and only invite 5 of their people, and they can actually just say" or, like, 30, 30 seems to be, like, that micro 30 to 50 is their micro wedding size. Um, they can have that amazing, beautiful wedding with their favorite people and buy a house and or use that money that they would have spent on something else. A wedding is like a one celebration, but like you live in your home a lot longer, and that's a goal for most people now.
100%. I'm going through it right now. 100% wedding, doing the final deposits after I get off the show with you. So I totally get it. And there's definitely not regretting the decision by any means, but there is definitely smart ways to go about it, depending on what your goals are, for sure. So very well said. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so let's let's talk about this. So in life, we decide to walk down this path, right? This path of life, and we can't never really control what happens. Life can sometimes be unfair. Things come out of left center field. We go through obstacles. We go through challenge. Some people experience tragedies. Some people experience more of these things than others. And it's just the way of life. But I've always been fascinated with human beings and our ability to be able to overcome these challenges. And it's a lot of it is up to do up here, right? The mental state of things and being able to see the glass half full, be able to pull and extract silver linings from things that happen in our everyday lives. And so I wanted to ask you if you've ever experienced a hardship, a life challenge, maybe you overcame it, maybe made you better, maybe made you stronger, maybe you pulled some silver linings from it.
I feel like I touched on it a little bit. So like I would say like that was like the biggest hardship, and like I'll speak more specific to that. But like a challenge that I'm facing now is like, living the dream right now, like with the mortgages, and we have a rent for our kitchen. Um, like I'm working turn of events, and that's definitely bringing in income. I'm definitely putting the hours in. I can't really afford to take on another job. But there is like financial strain with everything, and I don't want to have to give up homeschooling because it's a really important value to us where she is like I should have sent her in junior kindergarten, but it didn't feel right to me that she's 4 years old and having to go to school for 7 hours a day, waking up so early and rushing around, and I was just a no to that. And I was a yes to, like, she can, like, her even when I went to school, it was every other day, and now it's, like, 7 hours a day every day for 4 years old, and teachers that I don't know what they're teaching. Um so, like, when we had our child, it was just, like, obvious that, like, let's take care of our own, and, and I don't know how long I can continue to do the homeschooling, and every month that I do get to, I'm so happy, and even when we bought this house too, like, it's like all the money went out at one time for that. Like when we like all the closing costs and everything, it's like, how are we even going to make next month? And we do, and it's been 2 years. So it's really a day by day, daily challenges that come up, but like we are resourceful and resilient. And and now that I'm here, like, I can, a lot of people can say like, they're still reaching for that dream, but now that I'm here, like I love it and I will fight for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, the first 5 years of a child's life are some of the most important for all of those kind of foundational, components to it. And nothing wrong by any stretch of wanting to keep control over that. If I ever get in that position, I'm doing the same thing. It's just,
Oh, how
it's
old
so
is, oh no, she's a thrifter, but she's,
So Chanel is Julie's daughter. I got to the pleasure of inheriting her. I'm not her biological father, but I always want to be a dad. And Julie and I do want to raise a family together. And so Chanel is absolutely wonderful. She's 18 years old, and I met Chanel when she was 16. So I've known her for a few years now, and she was going through grade 11 and grade 12, and then she finished her high school, and then deciding on what do I want to do? And I remember when I was that age, I didn't overly know what I wanted to do, but, I'd been in sales a little bit and I decided to go take business. But I mean, at that young age, I wasn't overly academic. With the capacity to be able to sit down and theory learn is really not my learning style. And so did it for a bit, but I didn't graduate or anything like that. And so it was important to take my experience to be able to try to take some of that pressure off of her, because just the world in general is trying to tell you need to get up on your feet and you need to be going to do life right away. And it's just like, you could take the next 4 years and figure it out and then pick on something that you want to do and then go and do it. Forcing that kind of pressure on somebody when they're that young, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. And most people go to school and don't even do that anyway. And then, you're wasting all of that money for not a whole lot. So she took some time to think about, what she wanted to do, and did applying for some jobs and worked a couple part-time jobs. And then it was always Julie's dream to have her daughter want to take a hand in the business. And she's really, really good at floral design. And she came to her mom one day and she's like, I want to work in the business and I want to work with my mom. And so she's got her best friend down there every single day. And the two girls are getting ready for Mother's Day right now, and I'm working this weekend. I always man the front of the shop on Mother's Day and Valentine's Day because the girls need that extra hand. And
Yep.
of course, I got the sales experience, so working the cash and working with the customers and helping them with what they need is kind of right up my forte. We have the flower shop right in our basement studio here, so it's pretty cool. The girls get to quote unquote work from home, and they did a really good job with the studio downstairs. It's really cozy down there and flowers everywhere. It smells delicious down there. Every time you go down there, it's great. So yeah, everything is good on that front. And it's been a privilege to take on a father role model figure for Chanel. She's a great human being. Julie did a really good job of raising her. So.
Oh, that's so amazing to hear. I love that. I'm just seeing you in the, front of the house, like taking the orders for Mother's Day. And I think that's just the most amazing, like collaboration and you helping out when they need it, and that she gets to learn from her mom. Um, like a lot of people learn best when they're in the experience. They don't really learn from a textbook. So she's getting that early on, and I love that she came, it was not forced on her to take on the family business. And it was like probably seeing the passion and the love that that Julie had for flowers too.
Yeah,
She wants that for herself too.
Yeah, she's been working in the flower shop for like her whole life. Julie's been doing flowers for like a really, really long time, right? So it's just she's just naturally like really good at it, and I think she kind of came to realize that. And she has her days. You're dealing with the public. It's not perfect every single day, And some people are a little bit more entitled than others when it comes to services. I think most business owners who are listening to this will shake their head and nod. But it's all good from the most part. So let me ask you this question. If there was one thing, no cheating, Alison, you only can pick one thing, but if there was one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business, what would that one thing be?
I wish they knew that they didn't have to just get catering and service. A lot of the times, like people are reaching out to us just for like their catering needs or for what Miguel can do for them. And like we also do like I also offer like our event services. And one of the things that like more particularly like that I feel like people don't know is, and like I'll throw like my rate out there if I yes or no.
Yeah.
Um, but for someone who wants to like host a party at their home and they're providing their own food, they can hire someone like myself at $40 an hour, minimum 4 hours, to just be there and help and as a second hand and not, recruit family members to put it together. Like if they need, help with setup, like general, like little like flower arranging or like help with a backdrop or just need someone who's like skilled and is quick with it and understands what needs to happen when it needs to happen. Like I am really complimentary to someone who wants to do that. I also kind of grew up with a nanny, but only because like my parents were trying to bring them over from the Philippines and they were, our babysitter. And so I saw like how helpful they were and like how helpful they were to my parents. So I feel like I have that spirit in me of just being a really good helper. The Filipino spirit lives and I'm just really happy to be helping there and being there. It gives me a lot of gratitude to know that like my help and my two hands really made a difference for something that is affordable. And when they think of like wedding planners, sometimes that could be like $1,500, $1,800, $5,000 for a wedding planner, and they really like for something that they want to do that's a little bit more sophisticated at the home, a lot of more moving parts, like needing help with possible like rental list. They just need like that extra little help and not having to pay the big ticket. I can like that's something that we offer and I'm happy to do it.
Oh, very well said. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking after our wedding, my parents are having like 40 or 50 people over. They've got a big backyard. They've got an acre backyard, so we're going to fit everybody around there. But my parents are doing the cooking, and some other people are going to bring a couple of things. But there's, a lot that goes into it. So it's, when you have these types of engagements or celebrations, even if you want to do something a little bit more quaint with 6 people or 2 people and you want things kind of, handled for you, you get to focus more on being in the moment and engaging with the people that you care about. It's why you're all doing it. And, having a service like that, I think is pretty cool because, for what I just said, you get to focus a little bit more on that and some of those other kind of what's the right word I'm looking for? Some of those kind of like minute tasks that you'd have to think about. It takes more brain power. Instead, you get to dump that into more of the people that you care about. It's the whole reason why you're getting together. So love the conversation. Really cool. I think there's definitely going to be some people who are interested that want to reach out, get to know you a little bit more, maybe want to finally meet the Pokemon master, but the chef behind the scenes. And so for those who are, what would be one of the best ways that they can go ahead and reach out to you?
Probably our website. We have a contact inquiry form on there, and that's turn of events and catering.com. And then we're also on Instagram. We're like, I used to say like, yeah, you can DM us, but I'm like not always checking the DM box as I should be, but you can just text me too, and I will respond pretty quickly.
And is your cell phone number on the website as well?
Yep, the number on the website is my cell phone.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Well, Alison, really nice to have you on the show. Enjoyed our conversation. That was a lot of fun. Always a pleasure getting to know another great business in our local community.
Thank you so much, Sean. I have not stopped smiling. My cheeks are like so rosy now. But yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much for making me feel comfortable to share and talk to you.
No worries. Well, we'll see you out there.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwithjeffandsean.com. That's gnpwithjeffandsean.com or call 705-413-3775.